Were you ever that skinny, dorky little nerdy kid at school who tried to stand up to the big bad bully and you thought you were really cool and epic? And you're like, yeah, I'll beat you up, man, only to get knocked down in the dirt? Well, I was that kid at least once in my life, and this translates, my dear friends, to the stories of this evening. Brian Von Vier here, bringing to you what was the most heroic thing a player did that horribly backfired. It's not the most epic, but our party was tasked with clearing some bandits that were harassing a nearby town. We captured said bandits and learned that another name of interest was actually their leader. This leader was an excommunicated member of our adventuring college and had a grudge against certain members of this city's leadership. They were clearing houses for more businesses to build infrastructure, but were doing so by either buying out homeowners or killing them secretly. We go to the town's treasurer's house to find the big bad evil guy chilling there. He has no qualms with us, but our party is torn on what to do. Do we protect the treasurer? Do we attack the big bad evil guy? Do we just leave? Then the treasurer and his bodyguard come in and all hell breaks loose. The bodyguard attacks the big bad evil guy. Big bad evil guy beats in the face of the bodyguard. A half-orc just made mincemeat out of a giant. The ranger attacks both the big bad evil guy and the bodyguard. I stand in the corner defending myself. Our druid attacks the bodyguard and the artificer. The artificer meets the treasurer at the top of the stairs. He explains out of character that he wants to protect the treasurer from the melee happening upstairs. So in character, he shield bashes him down the stairs while yelling, "Safety!" before running into the fray. This ended up giving the treasurer several broken ribs and a fractured leg and ultimately led to his death at the hands of the big bad evil guy. Hey, at least it wasn't a concussion. Our group had found the deck of many things and had managed to pull the wish card. Well, our paladin of the group saw the deck as evil, and the wizard had given everyone the opportunity to make a wish, as she had wished for 10 more wishes. The paladin wished for 3 wishes, and one of those wishes was for the deck to be destroyed. The DM described that because of this. We had random cards pulled, and we all rolled. The wizard was sent to the astral plane, which would have been the end of her character as there was no way for her to escape. But luckily she wished herself out. My character and the druid pulled the death card and 2 shadow forms of ourselves appeared, ready to face us in combat. The paladin, ironically enough, got gold. The wizard used one of her wishes to reverse time, which angered Father Time, and he warned her about wishing for more wishes. At this point, she had only 2 left and he allowed her to use them. But after that, she was never allowed to use wishes again. This caused an argument between the wizard and the paladin. The wizard was angry he put the party in danger without talking out his plan or feelings through, and the paladin was angry that we were messing around with something that was very dangerous, therefore putting ourselves in danger. The wizard used her last wishes to wish us up some helpful gear and potions, and then used the last one to help us escape when the cavern we were in started caving in. In trying to get rid of something he saw as evil that could potentially hurt our characters, he nearly killed them off. As the DM explained, the only way to save the wizard was somehow to find a way into this other plane to save her, and the deaths of the druid and I were fighting had an AC of 20 and was copies of ourselves, so there was a chance that they had the same weapons and spells as us. Also, no one else was allowed to assist us in the fight. If they did, that meant we lost automatically due to some other shenanigans. My health was already halfway gone, so I have a feeling my character would probably have died as well. The paladin was meant to leave our group anyways because after this campaign was over, his character was going into a different one with different characters of ours. He left a letter for us explaining his departure and apologizing for his actions. Our group was part of a heroes guild, exactly as it sounds like. I don't remember what we were doing at the time, but we came across a caravan that had pulled off to the side of the road. As we got closer, we saw a group savagely beating on some woman. As the Heroes Guild, we stopped to figure out what the situation was and why they were beating on this woman. On a scale from 1 to 10, these NPCs were an 8 on the hostile scale, saying, "You should mind your own business and stay out of it." Obviously, as a part of the Heroes Guild, we intervened to save this woman from the people who clearly were being asshats. Initiative is rolled, and most of the NPCs go first. Turns out they were high combat rated fighter, paladin, I think, and wizard. We were level, 5 or 6 or something. They mopped the floor with us and berated us with, "You should have overestimated your abilities." We just sat there like, what the fuck? The woman they were beating on was some super evil lady. I don't remember who or what she did. I just remembered being baffled and fuming as to why they couldn't tell us that to begin with. It honestly just felt like being punished for doing the heroic thing as well as being punished for playing. We were fighting one of the main story bosses, and the fight was clearly not in our favor. I, the wild magic sorcerer, tried to use Thunder Wave to shove the boss off of a mountain. So I run from the security of being behind the barbarian, fighter, and rogue, get in front of the monster, and cast the spell at 3rd level, just in case I roll low on the damage. Unfortunately, the monster succeeded the Constitution roll. My DM, however, asked me for a roll of the dice to see if I roll on the Wild Surge table. Nat 1, okay, I'll roll. Worst case scenario, I explode and the monster may take a good amount of damage as well, right? Well, not exactly. I roll on the table and get a 69, which means that now each creature within 30 feet of me is now invisible for the next minute. Basically, I somehow managed to make it worse by giving the creature advantage on his next attack, and no other party member aside from the rogue gained the invisibility. I used Misty Step to get the hell out of there, back to relative security of our barbarian's back, and then watched as the fighter gets obliterated by a crit from the invisible creature. Luckily, the rogue managed to land a sneak attack, and although it didn't kill it, the monster died some rounds later. Fortunately, the fighter barely survived by succeeding his saving throw. We were fighting a vampire on a ship. The DM hadn't intended for us to charge the ship, as it was leaving the docks, and there were certain red flags leading up to the battle. After a few rounds, it's clear we're losing, and would probably be picked off one by one if we tried to swim for it. Trying to be inventive, we search around and find a stash of explosives under our feet. I walk up to the vampire, say my last words, "It's been emotional." Eldritch blast straight down, thinking the rest of the party were at a safe distance. It turns out they weren't. End result was a TPK. The group was on a rescue mission and had just arrived in the city that their quest was to take place in when they noticed a group of cultist soldiers had a pet slime. Said slime had one of the city's citizens within, that the group noticed as they began to fight the cultists. So one of my players gets what he'd thought would be a great idea. The idea was to use Dimension Door to teleport directly above the slime so he could drop down, grab the citizen, and hope the momentum from gravity would prevent him from getting stuck within the slime himself. Unfortunately, he got stuck within the slime, and worse yet, he noticed the citizen was losing consciousness. Worse yet, any attacks made against the slime had a chance to hit either him or the citizen, and any magical damage would also partially affect those within the slime. The good news is that the rest of the party managed to kill the slime and the cultist quickly enough to rescue both their own member and the citizen. A party of veteran players but rookie characters exploring an abandoned vault and library. The people who lived in the area were driven out by famine, and in the time they were gone, a basilisk moved in and set up a nest and started to have babies. Our party was tasked by the city to go clear them out, since the babies might cause a problem once they get older. 2 sessions in, and we're doing decently, but during a rest we hear movement in the next room, and cut our long rest down to a short one to keep it from jumping us in the middle of the night. Everyone got a briefing on what basilisks do before leaving town, so the front line goes in with their eyes closed to try to keep themselves from getting turned to stone. A few rounds later, half the party is dying or close to it, so my wild magic sorcerer has a stupid idea. Open my eyes, use Tides of Chaos on one big spell to try to make a dent in the creature and see how hurt it looks. I started to become petrified, but not before firing off a 2nd level Chaos Bolt that crit and giving information to the rest of the party. In the moments before becoming fully petrified, a stupid idea ran through my head. I cast Mold Earth on my petrified arm to try and rip it off to stop the curse from spreading. I'd be bleeding heavily and probably only have a turn before I passed out, but it might be enough to change the fight in our favor. If I hadn't rolled a nat 1 on my con save to stay conscious, I ended up crippling myself and needing serious healing magic back at town, became fully petrified along with the other party member, and the team scraped by without anyone else going down. I still say the crippling injury was worth it for the extra damage and the changes the incident made to the character's personality. This was the final fight of the campaign. We were up against an eldritch being, basically a god, and we had thrown everything we had at it. We had almost gotten it to die, but we were running out of time. So our War Domain cleric walked up to the eldritch being, and using a call shout, he expended all his clerical power, severing his connection to any form of magic forever, just to pump a bunch of holy magic to take this thing down. Nat 1. His sacrifice was for nothing. Seeing this, my character, a Warforged necromancer based on the FNAF puppet, walked up to the creature. In the first boss fight of the campaign, we fought a lich whose last-ditch effort to defeat us was to blow up his own spellbook to wipe us out. We beat him, but we had almost died in that fight. So my necromancer did something similar, but took it a step further. She wasn't just blowing up her spellbook and unleashing all of her arcane power, she expended every bit of magic in her and blew that up too. In other words, she did a kamikaze maneuver to save her friends. I rolled a 5. The DM decided that since I sacrificed my character completely and died, she'd still dealt a lot of damage. But it wasn't enough. The creature used its next turn to use an ability to force the remaining players to choose a character to die, and the cleric, having used up all his powers, convinced the others to let it be him who died. In the end, the fighter managed to land the last finishing blow to kill the monster thanks to my character's death, but I'd say both my and the character's heroic moments backfired due to it not being able to save each other from death thanks to bad rolls. So this just happened maybe an hour ago. I was part of a party trying to hunt cult members who were brainwashing people. Ooh. Our group came across a festival, and our paladin rolled perception to find members of the cult. Long story on how she could identify them. Not important. She rolled a nat 1, and the DM jokingly said, "You think you see your dad," a known member of the cult. 2 more members of the group tried, and so help me God, they both rolled nat 1 as well, and got the same response. My character got an 18, but the group had made up their minds, and the paladin sent their pet hatchling dragon after them. The dragon, Sparkly, would immolate 4 innocent people in broad daylight in a massive crowd. We're still sorting the paperwork. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA, back at it again, checking in after the vid. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get notified whenever we post or go live. If you'd like to see us live, check us out on Twitch, and if you want to submit a story to us, do so on the subreddit r/MrRipper. Alternatively, you can come say hi to me, Brian Von VA, over on Twitch and YouTube myself, and if you're really feeling extra lovey-dovey, come check us out over on Riptovia, which is our secondary channel on YouTube, and it has a lot of TTRPG goodness, some stories similar to this one, and stories that are kind of wacky as well, sad or spooky. A lot of stuff there, so go check us out. Links are all in the description below. As always, I try to end things on a positive note, and today's no different. Creativity. I always talk about creativity, imagination, all that jazz. But there's another thing that I don't talk about. Exploring things in life. You only live once, and that stupid YOLO crap can go away, but you do only live one time in this world. And while you're here, you might as well be imaginative and creative, not only in games like this, but in life too. Say you wanted to try something new to eat. Go out and try it. What the hell? It can't hurt. So what? You don't like greens? Go eat a green. Go try spinach or kale or, God forbid, something else like Brussels sprouts. But go try it. You might like it. Try it in different applications. Try it everywhere. Try it anywhere. You never know what you're going to like. Same goes with travel. Go travel if you have the capacity to do so. Take a break. Take a vacation if you have the power. Don't be afraid to do something. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something, and don't let your past or your trauma hold you back. You're all amazing. Remember that. I love you all. Be safe, be happy, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.